So I had no idea what was coming in advance. Looks like we got some sticker packs.
Oh.
Boom. Demand American made. So they, all of their products, everything is manufactured in the U.S., sourced in the U.S.
Awesome.
This thing's shit in the bed. That thing's shit in the bed. This thing at least turns on.
First show, White Lotus. First of all, this season fucking sucks. We can both agree on that. It's so slow.
Yeah. Like every show that she's in, I don't like her character.
What?
So I didn't tell you this yet, and it's probably not going to come true.
Okay.
But I reached out to my buddy to see if he can put me in touch with Danny McBride to come on the show. When Danny McBride does it, it's not even that it's like incoherent, but it's how in the world, there's no way you rehearse those lines. Welcome back to the He's Wrong, She's Right podcast. I'm Andrew. This is Nona. We are your hosts. Today we're talking about, I guess, TV shows, some pop culture stuff, things that we've been watching and consuming lately. And if for some reason we look different, sound different, technical difficulties yet again.
The story of our podcast lives.
The Minis Forum UM890 is now, by a long shot, the most unreliable computer I've ever owned in my life. Had the issue with BitLocker. Now, last week, right? Or the week before?
Yeah, it was last week.
Wouldn't power on. I left it on the kitchen counter. I tore it all apart, checked, pulled the BIOS, or CMOS battery, all that. Didn't do anything. Left it on the counter. The next day, I plugged it in because I need to RMA it. And I was hoping, if I power it on, I'll be able to wipe the data without pulling the drive out. And of course, it boots on perfectly fine. We recorded last week's episodes, having it all wired back into the setup, worked flawlessly for 3 episodes that we recorded that day. And then this morning, we'll turn on again.
And that was literally 3 days ago that we recorded.
So, brought down the oldest son's PC and got that set up temporarily. So I had to tear all that back down and take it all back up to his room again. So a complete nightmare because the cameras don't have memory for any of the settings, so any color changes or anything like that, it doesn't translate between any of these computers.
Oh yeah, and I can see from here that I'm looking very haggard.
So color, like anyways, but we do have some good news. If you like apparel from American Lictor, which I know at least a couple of you do, the Grimsey shirt pre-orders went out today when we're recording. So this is like a whole week. There's going to be deliveries coming for that already. And also, I have a little package here. And of course, I'm not going to show you the label. But I have a package here from American Lictor. I have no idea what's even in here. They're just like, hey, man, thanks for all the shout outs. What was your past order number so we can send you some stuff? So I've got some stuff in here. There's like a hard piece right here. It feels like a T-shirt. So
I don't know, but the hard piece is like the size of a CD.
Yeah.
And that's what I was like.
It's like this. It's
now I'm really,
there.
really curious.
Yeah. So, wait, did I just show the... No, okay.
No.
I don't want to have to edit that out. That's too much work. Oh, and somebody said that if you're really careful with these made in USA stickers...
Keeping
I
our
fucked that up. Sorry.
address covered.
But they said if you are very careful, you get the made in the USA sticker off. I'm not careful though. So let's drop. Ooh. There's a sticker right here. A nice little mirror. I actually have one of these in green, I believe. Or
yeah.
All right.
Like I said, it felt like a CD through.
Mystery pack. We got a shirt here.
I'm really curious what's inside.
We got a shirt here. Let's see what we got.
What do the kids these days call this? An unboxing video?
Yeah. So it just said, the order description just said swag. So I had no idea what was coming in advance. Looks like we got some sticker packs.
Oh, cool.
What we got? Man.
Now you can continue your decorations on your beautiful laptop.
They just keep coming. So let's check this out. What we got here? We got, this is like wood. This
is cool.
It's like laser.
That's a sticker.
Yeah, it's got like 3M adhesive on one side.
Nice.
It's like what are they, like balsa wood or whatever it's called? Mm-hmm. It's like that. So that's actually pretty cool. So put that over there for now. We got logo sticker. Bam. What else we got here? We got a colorful rainbow version of the sticker. We got, damn, this is like a lot of stuff. Glock. We got the agave spirit sticker.
What's the story behind that?
Oh, it's part of the goob stuff. There's a whole lore, Nona. We could probably do a whole episode. We could invite, if you guys want to come on. You guys want to come on the show?
We apologize for podcast dog coming to say hello.
Boom. Demand American made. So, jeez. So all of their products, everything is manufactured in the U.S., sourced in the
awesome.
U.S. Yeah. So for the fact that that's the case, and the fact that they're able to keep the price competitive with other T-shirt manufacturers, it's a big deal. Right?
That is a huge deal.
All right, and then what we got? Dissident designs, unapologetically expressive stickers. Bam. Love it. I actually want to take all the stickers off of this because I want to get rid of this laptop. But I got to deal with the minisform thing first. Too many computer problems. This thing's shit in the bed. That thing's shit in the bed. This thing at least turns on. And then finally, we've got the shirt.
What size do you wear, Andrew?
2 or 3X, depending on who it is. All right, let's see what we
So
got.
you guys all heard that. So if you want to send him anything,
If anybody ever wants to send us anything, reach out to us. 1A2A. I like that. It's First Amendment, Second Amendment.
and it's your favorite color.
Yeah. So yeah. I would. We actually. I had a
Thank you.
Thank you. I had a whole skit planned out where I was gonna change into the shirt. However, since there's no marking on the front, only on the back, I'll stay on this one to keep you guys promoted for the entire episode. So yeah, thank you guys. If anybody ever wants to send us anything, reach out on X or Instagram. My Instagram and the podcast Instagram have been blowing up in number of followers.
Oh yeah.
Because of the Sean Ryan video. I keep getting followers from real because that's showing up in Google search.
Okay.
So people are following us from that, and there's no movement on that yet, guys. I promise it's coming out. But anyways, digressing, or as Nona likes to call it, the Tangent Express. Maybe I should just have American Lictor do our shirts.
I think you should.
I should. Right.
Cough, cough. You guys heard that if you're listening.
Yeah. So,
Andrew, we've been binge watching lots of TV because there's literally nothing else going on in our lives right now.
well, the tournament, the March Madness tournament.
No.
Yes.
We've been binge watching a lot of TV. So
I got a prediction right. Michigan beat Wisconsin.
Let's jump into it. First show, White Lotus. First of all, this season fucking sucks. We can both agree on that. It's so slow. Yeah. First season or second season, which did you like better?
I don't even remember.
Hawaii versus Italy.
I don't remember. I'd have to
they were both good within their own rights, and they were sexier and more mysterious, whereas this one is just so fucking slow.
They've wasted Walton Goggins' talent. That dude is so funny. And
his face during that monologue is the listen and we don't judge.
What's that? That wasn't Edward Norton. Who was that? Was that Edward Norton?
Not Edward Norton. Hold on. Give me like 1.5 seconds. Sam Rockwell is his name. And he's married to one of the women in that trio.
Interesting.
The one with the short blonde hair who lives in Texas.
The one
who is married to a Republican.
You're talking about
in real life. They're actually married.
Okay. All right.
But yeah.
I hate her. Like every show that she's in, I don't like her character.
No, I think you're talking about Jacqueline, the one who's
from The League.
Oh, really? You don't like her?
No.
Oh, interesting.
I just don't like anything about her.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's like a predisposition because I hated her character in The League, so now I just hate everything that she does.
No, that's actually possible. That is possible. But speaking of those three characters, I have a prediction with the man that she's currently fucking. We're recording this Wednesday before the next episode comes out, but this episode will air after this next episode comes out. So we don't know what Sunday's episode is going to entail and unfold. But my prediction is that the Russians that they were hanging out with are the ones who robbed the jewelry store in the hotel.
Okay.
Because the one guy who's their butler was the one who was talking to the guard and the other one slipped by. And so I think he's like in on it. And when he went into her hotel room, he left the door open. So I think they're either A, about to rob the women, come back around and rob them, or B, something more ominous is going to happen, like videotape him hook. Yeah. Because she's not only married, but she's also an actress on the show. So she's got the means and why she's going to blackmail. But from the beginning, let's go back to the beginning. The body floating on that first episode. You said it looked like a man. Mm-hmm. So immediately we both decided it was going to be a guy. Who do you predict is the floating body in the opening scene?
It's probably the dad, but not related to the shooting. It's probably going to be from an overdose.
Oh, really? So from the moment that I met him, I think it's the security guard. And I think he's just collateral damage, and he finally stepped up to do his job. That was from the moment that I met him. He's such a passive character, and we've been introduced to him too many times for it to not be important.
I need to rewatch that scene because I don't remember.
But the other person who I think something's going to happen to is Walter Goggins' girlfriend.
Walton.
Oh, Walton. Sorry. Walton Goggins' girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Because she obviously has had now 2 things happen, and she said things happen in 3s.
Okay.
So what's going to happen to her?
Who knows?
Is she going to be collateral damage also?
No. I think we're being misdirected.
Misdirected?
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen with the lady who came from the Hawaii resort, who noticed the person Gary, whatever he's going by now, who's in hiding and wanted for questioning? What do you think is going to happen to her?
Nothing.
Nothing?
No.
What do you think is going to happen to him? Do you think something is going to happen?
No.
Nothing?
No. The formula for all these shows these days is lead you on these paths with like the character development, making you think that, oh, this is the horrible person. This is the horrible person. Obviously, in this one, they're trying to give you multiple people that it could potentially be. And I don't think that the shooter is any of them.
Okay.
Or not that it's any of them. It's none of the ones that they're trying to make obvious. Because they're trying to paint the dad from North Carolina.
Right.
They're trying to paint Walton Goggins' character. They're trying to paint, as you said, the Russian butler. Mm-hmm. They're trying to paint something going on with the security guard. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember what it's like, Gothic or something. It's
right.
Some Thai name. Yeah. The scene with him meeting up with Walton Goggins meeting up with the other guy in Bangkok that's like Oscar worthy acting on Walton Goggins' behalf.
Oh, I thought you were saying on
when he was like listening to his friend talk about how he used to bring all these girls home and do all these drugs.
Like I said, listen and we don't judge.
But he's like, yeah, I used to get drunk all the time. And then I started thinking, what if I'm the girl? And he's like, then I started bringing guys home. And then they were railing me. And he was like, oh, what am I? Who? You're not. I don't know who you are anymore. And then he just kept going on to it. And then he's like, then I started bringing multiple of them back. And then sometimes I had to pay them. I was like, oh my God.
And then he ends it with, and now I'm sober and Buddhist.
Yeah. Well, sober and celibate.
Sober, celibate, and a Buddhist.
Yeah. And he's like, Being sober is not difficult. It's the celibacy part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean,
what would you do if you asked them presently why they were drinking tea instead of having an alcoholic beverage with you, and that was their answer?
Well, I was waiting for the gotcha. I was waiting for him to be like, oh, I'm just kidding, man. Yeah, I totally thought that was coming. That's such an elaborate story to tell your friend that you haven't seen in, what did you say, a year?
Yeah. Over a year, I think.
Yeah.
But anyways, the main family from New York, their last name is Ratliff. Do you remember the show that we watched, The Staircase?
Okay.
With the Peterson family?
I'm not remembering names. I remember people's real names. I don't remember their
who
character
lived
names.
here in North Carolina as well. Wife fell down the stairs, unusual circumstances. He had another wife who previously had fallen down the stairs over in, what was it, Germany? And then their neighbor is where the two middle girls came from, and their last name is Ratliff.
Okay.
So there is speculation because the actor who plays the oldest son, Schwarzenegger, and the mom, Piper.
Wait, that's Arnold's son?
Yes, we've already talked about this. The mom, Piper, were both in that show, and they were both produced by HBO. So there's this theory going around that they are trying to tie these two together, and that somehow possibly something's going to happen to Piper's character, the mom of the Ratliff family.
The real name, Mom.
Right. Her real name is Piper, but I can't remember what her...
Well, she has a terrible accent. So horrific.
Because they're trying to tie together Kathleen Peterson and Elizabeth Ratliff, and they're both from Durham, North Carolina, and it was just all under suspicious circumstances. And what is White Lotus going to bring? What do you think? Do you think there's anything there?
No. It overly complicates things, and it removes the ability of future directors and writers to be able to be creative with their content. It's not a thing.
Yeah. I didn't really think it was
fan fiction.
I just wanted your opinion. But there is something else that did recently come out. Okay. 4 Seasons. Oh my gosh, of course an ad pops up as soon as I open this. 4 Seasons has come out with a $188,000 White Lotus private jet experience that is 20 days long and will take you to a White Lotus inspired multiple destinations, 1 night in Singapore, a couple nights in the Maldives, Mexico City, Maui, et cetera, jetting you across to all the places for $188,000 to have your own White Lotus experience for 20 days. Would you do it?
No.
If money was not an object?
No.
If money was not an object, really, you wouldn't do it?
No, I don't want to be anywhere for only 1 day.
Okay.
You're going to be jet lagged. I specifically am going to be in pain.
Right.
And then continuing to do it over and over again. I'm not going to have fun.
Right.
I'm not going to actually get to do or enjoy anything I want to do because we'll run into an issue like we did in Puerto Rico where everything's closed or there's a storm or whatever.
The power goes out. Yeah,
one day is not enough time to spend anywhere for any amount of enjoyment.
Okay.
The only place that you can go for 1 day potentially would be like a theme park because you can literally do you're in a contained environment. But going to a city,
the idea of being at a theme park for more than 1 day sounds like absolute hell to me. So yes, I would only want to be there for 1 day, if not less.
Right. Some of these places are so big now where you want to do all the roller coasters 1 day and then like the water park the next day or something like that.
But you wouldn't want to go to multiple places in 20 days?
Not like that, no. You would have to have more days like more days than that in any given location. But I think something like that would be better suited for a private yacht, not a cruise, but a private yacht. Where you...
So remember in the last episode that we recorded, we talked about below deck. That's literally what they do in below deck.
Right, but I'm saying I wanted to make the distinction that I don't want to ever go on a cruise, but a private yacht.
Right. That's
where get on, get
what
off.
The show is about.
And you have more control over where you will and won't go, because you book a flight, or even if you have a chartered flight somewhere and they fly you into somewhere and then they're like, well, we got to fuel up, we got to do this, we got to do that. Whereas if you're on a yacht and you're like, looks like there's too much going on there. We stumbled into a stupid holiday.
You literally just described the show Below Deck. That's what it is.
Okay. For someone that's never seen it, you sure know a lot about it.
It's just, that's what it's about.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, why she's saying that, we brought it up before. A distant-ish family member of mine is on the
second
show.
Or third cousin, something to that effect of his.
My dad's extended family tree somewhere.
Somewhere. Yeah.
All right. There's not very many people with my last name, so we're basically, you only have to go back 4 or 5 generations, and we're probably all related.
So the other show that we just started watching that also comes out HBO Sunday nights is Righteous Gemstones, because it just came back.
Walton Goggins again.
Yes. Your favorite.
So
you love him so much.
So I didn't tell you this yet, and it's probably not going to come true.
Okay.
But I reached out to my buddy to see if he can put me in touch with Danny McBride to come on the show.
Good luck with that.
I know it probably won't happen.
He's born and raised outside of Charleston, South Carolina.
Right.
So his roots are here.
Right. But I would, for somebody like him, especially if he is in somewhere along this coast, either in the Carolinas or maybe even like Savannah-ish, like somewhere along there, I would want to go to him and do something in
That would
person.
be so cool.
Yeah. Because the dude is... I don't think I've seen anything with him in it that I haven't liked. I know you don't like stuff like Pineapple Express.
He's definitely more your cup of tea.
But
I don't dislike him. It's just...
The humor...
It's more your cup of tea.
The humor is ridiculous. It is so in a lot of ways, like the way, what's his name? The tall guy in the show that we just watched? Vince Vaughn.
That's so specific.
Vince Vaughn. So the way Vince Vaughn can just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. When Danny McBride does it, it's not even that it's like incoherent, but it's how in the world, there's no way you rehearse those lines. It has to be mostly ad-libbed.
Oh, for sure.
But where do you even come up with what you're saying? Any of the characters on that show, realistically. I mean, Walton Goggins is probably the least improvised character on that show. Okay. And maybe what's his name, the dad, why can't I think of his real name? Their dad.
I can't remember his real name either.
Oh my gosh.
We're terrible.
Big actor, everybody knows him. You know, he was always in big movies, and now he's in one of the funniest shows of all time, and unfortunately it's the final season.
It is.
And then Bradley Cooper showing up in the first episode
as their great grandfather or whoever he might be.
Yep. So that's funny. I want to see how they tie that in, because obviously it has to do with the name.
Right.
Somebody's going to blow that up somewhere.
You think so?
Yeah, it has to.
No, it's the classic origin story. He saw how easily he's able to manipulate people to give him money.
Right. But I'm saying, because everything has been about their name.
Right.
So if you blow up the gemstone name, like, oh, this always had, or it was always fake to begin with. If you go back and look, there's history of this mysterious body found in the church. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, go watch the first episode. It's a whole episode of just Bradley Cooper. It's all set in World War II, or not World War II, the Civil War.
World War II.
Yeah, that'd be even crazier, actually. If it all happened when there was a little bit of technology and people were connected, it'd be really hard. I guess not really. It'd be pretty difficult to steal somebody's identity back then, but in the Civil War when people already didn't even know who you were.
Right.
You could just pop up a church or something somewhere and everybody's like, oh, there's a new church, a new pastor in town. I mean, they were still using drawn sketches of people at that point in time, right? So they probably didn't have an image of somebody to pass around. Clearly, he didn't have any family of any kind,
right?
Because the family would have been looking for him. He wouldn't have gotten away with it. They would have been able to identify the body because he didn't batter it that bad. It was still pretty identifiable. There were still features. You could still tell, like, yeah, that's obviously the face is kind of beaten up, but that's definitely that person.
True.
So, anyways.
Since you mentioned Bad Monkey,
yeah,
that was the other show that we just binge watched.
Yep.
We watched the whole first season.
Yep.
What did you think?
That was pretty good. I think so. There's like no resolution, if you really think about it.
A little bit.
No, because he's never going to know that she died. Vince Vaughn's character is never going to know that the person that he was pursuing the entire time had died.
I'm sure he has ways, but there's a little bit of resolution with all the characters.
No, because Vince Vaughn loses his badge again.
Yes, he does.
Back to doing nothing. So they basically restarted the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
He was suspended at the beginning of this season. He was suspended, goes through this whole journey to try and become a cop again. And then at the end, he's right back where he started in the same chair with his same former partner telling him the same kind of thing again. Got something in the trunk. It's not really police work, but it might get you somewhere. So.
But a few of the other characters had some resolution. Like T-shirt girl ended up with mobster guy, despite the fact that her boyfriend got murdered. Mm-hmm. So that was a happy ending for her. Mm-hmm. His other fling person got some sort of punishment and then decided the punishment was enough. And so she got back out. His new person is moving on in her life and not stuck. That's a good thing. It's like a hint of resolution for everybody. It's not a perfect happy ending.
It was an end of a season. She's not going anywhere.
You're right. It's an end of a season. It's leaving the door open for the next season. And these are all based off books. So the author has obviously created this character to be a perpetually disastrous, but has good intentions.
You know what I did notice, though, about these Apple shows?
What?
Is that when these new-ish studios pop up and they try and do some of these things. And so obviously HBO has been established for a long time.
Right.
Apple is basically just fronting the money. It's Warner Brothers that's running the show. So it's basically HBO. All those episodes, both shows that we're watching are both Warner Brothers shows.
Okay.
So they have all the Warner Brothers resources and talent and blah, blah, blah. But the one thing that I noticed is that they're not like amateur. They're well written, well thought out. I mean, there's been stuff that's been pretty unpredictable. Mm-hmm. Like we had no idea. The main bad guy in Bad Monkey is, if you guys have watched Deadpool 2 and Deadpool 3, the guy that plays Peter. He's the main character, or he's the main bad guy in the show that Vince Vaughn is chasing after the entire time. And there's spoiler alert. Sorry if we haven't done this previously. There's a big plot twist in there regarding whether or not he's dead multiple times. Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just real. It's funny because I showed her the clip from Deadpool 2 when, did I say that weird? 2?
Yeah, he's not a memorable person.
It's when Deadpool is going through and putting together X-Force and he has his headshot.
Again, not memorable.
And he's like, are you are you fucking with me right now? This is obviously is not you. He's like, oh, I put on some weight since then. I've got type 1 and type 2 diabetes. That's my special power. That's what we're talking about here. He's not a funny character in this show. I would say he was manipulated, though. He probably could have been a good person, but he loved his wife.
He was already down a bad path before he met his wife, but yes, she assisted him in continuing that bad path.
He probably would have just straight up disappeared to another country if she wasn't around, and there wouldn't have been...
Possibly.
It's exactly what would have happened.
Possibly.
And then they got that guy that everybody loves from...
Scrubs.
Is that what it is?
That's all I knew him
doctor.
from.
There's like two...
Zach Braff, I think his name is.
Are they doctors or nurses? I've never seen the show.
Zach Braff, I think is his name.
I just know they do T-Mobile commercials. So if you guys know what I'm talking about, there's the white guy and the black guy. He's the white guy. That's all I know. Right?
Yeah, and he's like a pill-popping addict.
Well, he's coping with all the nonsense that...
Because they went down a bad path.
Yep.
So then the other show that we're watching, because obviously that's all we do is watch TV, is Reacher.
Yep.
And when is that last episode of Reacher?
There's 2 episodes left.
There's 2 episodes left, so we are almost done with the season.
Thursdays?
They are Thursdays. So tomorrow, I was just making sure that tomorrow's is not the finale.
And if you guys watch the episode where he's talking to the little black girl MP when they were talking about hunting elks and all this stuff, and then he asks her where she's from, and she says Elkhart, Indiana. That's
where he was born.
That's where I was born. So that was really funny.
That made you very happy. And then he talked about it for like 7 days after.
Because I remember as a kid, right? My dad never wanted to tell anybody that we were from South Bend because he didn't want people to be like, oh, you must be a Notre Dame fan. I don't think he actually, I'm not saying for sure. But anytime people would ask, we would come down here for vacation or we would go wherever for vacation, Mexico, wherever. Someone would be like, oh, where are you from? And he'd say Elkhart, Indiana. He didn't even say where we actually lived, which was Mishawaka. He didn't say the big town, South Bend.
Okay.
He would say Elkhart every time. He'd always say Elkhart.
Okay.
So if there was ever, I don't know, there's probably nothing floating around because we weren't that family. Like we were the family that recorded everything. We had like the nice big camcorders and like the big cassettes and then the small cassettes. I used to record my brother's soccer games and stuff when I was a kid. We don't have, to the best of my knowledge, we don't have any of that stuff anymore. So when people show in movies and shows, they show like their home movies from when they were growing up. There's none of that exists from my childhood that I know of.
I have never specifically said I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina, because when I moved to the Faroe Islands, nobody knew where North Carolina was even. So I just had to say the United States. And so for anybody outside of the United States, I would just say United States is where I'm from. Okay, the end. That was the end of the conversation. Or for anybody here, I would just say North Carolina. Not specifically Wilmington, North Carolina, just North Carolina. That was enough. That was enough information for them.
There's a lot of those Terrible Maps accounts. Well, specifically, there's one called Terrible Maps, but they've done a couple different surveys where they've asked people from other countries to label states or label regions without like the actual state borders drawn.
Right.
And some of them are really funny. There was one that I just saved the other day. I'll show it to you if I remember how far back to scroll to find it because I saved it. It was really funny. But yeah, like there's a reverse version of that.
Okay.
Where they've added a country right there where that's kind of like that Gulf area between Spain and France. They've added another country in there and they're like, 90% of Europeans can't name this country or something along those lines. It's really funny.
Because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, people get so mad. They're like, there's people that make something up because they think it's real.
Aww.
They don't actually go and Google or look at like maps or whatever. They're like, oh, that's got to be like Portugal, right? Or that's Germany or something, because they don't actually know. And realistically, I mean, if I gave you a map of Europe, how many countries do you think you could actually get correct? Probably the main big ones. But I bet you the Eastern European countries you would never get right.
That is correct.
Yeah.
They all just kind of blur together over there. But yes, Western European. countries I can definitely name. Yeah. But Eastern, sorry.
So,
the last show that we just started is Shrinking. Mm-hmm. How does it make you feel? Do you feel shrunk?
No.
Have you finally made the decision to go to therapy?
No. No. But I do think that they have a good cast. And I actually think that...
Oh my God! He asked if the main actor was from the Variety...
State Farm guy.
And I was like, that's Jason Segel. He's a famous actor. What are you talking about? He was like, are you sure? Are you sure? I was like, yes, he's not the State Farm guy.
Hold on.
He's been in so many movies that you've seen. I know.
I just pulled up
Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Oh gosh.
So you're telling me
now I'm blanking on other movies.
That looks so much like him.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Tell me that doesn't look like what Jason Segel said?
But you know who I believe they are casting as his dad for the next season is...
Jason Segel's dad?
Yeah. I think he's the guy from Dumb and Dumber, and I'm blanking on his name. Like the original Dumb and Dumber. Not Jim Carrey, the other guy. Because how he looks now... he like perfectly looks like he could be Jason Segel's dad if you put like a side by side of them. And I
what
hope
do you mean original. Is there one that doesn't use Jim Carrey and him in it?
What?
You said the original, but it's Jim Carrey and the other guy in all of them, isn't it?
I said original?
Jeff Daniels.
I don't remember saying original.
You said the original Dumb and Dumber. Jeff Daniels is his name.
I don't remember saying the word original. But yes, him. I believe they've cast him to be Jason Segel's dad in the next season.
Let's say the next season is in the season that's already out that we haven't watched yet.
No, the one that they're like filming right now.
Season 3?
Right.
It doesn't say anything on Google, but that doesn't mean anything. It might be on IMDb and just not on here yet. Interesting. He's always like president and stuff like that, isn't he?
Really?
Well, okay, so Martian, that's what I'm thinking of. In The Martian, he's
I'm gonna look it up.
He's like within NASA, I believe. Or is he the president in that movie? Hold on. Let's see here. Jeff Daniels, Teddy Sanders.
Yep.
That's all it says. It just says Teddy Sanders.
Shrinking season 3 cast Jeff Daniels as Jason Segel's dad 7 days ago.
I wonder if he'll be a funny character or serious character. Remains to be seen.
Remains to be seen. He's always got kind of like a mopey personality.
Anyways, guys, that concludes. Tell us what shows you're watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Our 5,000 subscriber giveaway is probably over. And if that's true, we've started our 6,000 subscriber giveaway. And if that's true... we're recording this so far in advance.
It's not so far in advance. It's a couple of days in advance.
5, 6, or 8 days in advance.
It's coming out on Monday.
This stuff moves fast. Anyways, check out American Lictor. They don't pay us. They're not sponsoring us, but they're awesome.
But let them know that you want them to partner with Andrew.
Well, us for our apparel. So I do have a lot of funny shirt designs, and if you're an OG listener, you'll know.
Tangent Express.
Yeah. I do have some designs that I'd reviewed and sent back, and it's just I have literally so many things going on that I need to just be able to give somebody my brain for a moment and then have them do the creative stuff and then give it back to me and be like, what do you think? So get great shirts like this, which I actually, thanks guys for sending it. I would have bought it. I was going to buy it, but now I have it.
Thank you.
And that's it for this episode. And we will see you in the next one. Probably, assuming our equipment works. Bye.
Goodbye.